Well, I think perception is key in football a lot of the time. And of course I had injuries, and no way am I going to sit back and say I didn't. I saw a stat a couple of years ago when they wrote down myself, Rooney, Giggs, Scholes, Gerrard, all these players of sort of that generation. By the time we were all about 22, I'd virtually played double the amount of games in all of them. Yeah, everybody says I was always injured. I played loads when I was younger. So as much as everyone says, oh yeah, he was injured all the time, I still played a heck of a lot of games in my career. So later on in your career, the problem is with my career, I got injured quite a lot late on. I was average later on in my career, so people tend to remember the things that were, more or closer time-wise. So that's that one. Playing too much, getting injured. I mean, a lot of people, it's a fair question, and I really don't know the answer. I mean, the lads would have an opinion as well. All I would say is that, yes, you can overplay, I suppose, but in terms of injuries, my dad was a professional footballer for 20-odd years. He had groin problems, he had hamstring problems, he had thigh problems, he had muscle injuries. My brothers are very good footballers, very good athletes. They have terrible trouble with muscle injuries as well. It's just in the family, it's just genetic, it's just, I was born fast. Whether that's good or bad, it
was kind of both.
It
was good and bad.
It's bad from an injury point. That's just the way I'm made. So in my opinion, I was always going to get muscle injuries, no matter what. But I understand people saying it's because you played a lot, that's why you got a lot of muscle injuries. But I just think I was made to get muscle injuries because of my speed, really. We spoke earlier about, champions, great players, great teams, things like that. In your career, if you're that way inclined, if you're want it, if you want to be the best player, the win everything. I mean, I picked up the Ballon d'Or here, and I just get it off the pitch. We're about to play Derby. I need to score a goal, and Maka passes the ball. It's just relentless. So you rest on your laurels. You start dreaming. Oh yeah, I played a great game there. I scored a great goal there, and all the rest. You're a dreamer. It's the next game that's important, because if you don't score, everyone would have had a go at me, Mike Owens off the ball or whatever. So I think the people that are really successful for a long period of time, you can shine your medals when you're finished. You can reminisce and say, I can stand there at the side of the pitch and say FDM with you and think, oh yeah, that was pretty cool actually doing that at 18. I can do it now, that's fine. But at the time, it's what's next? What's next? Where's the next trophy? Where's the next goal? Where's the next performance?
And also, we lost that game that night.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
We were all there. Yeah, we lost the game. So yeah, it was an incredible goal, of course it was, but he scored an incredible goal. But his thought process afterwards was like, how disappointed are we to be leaving the World Cup when actually we should have went through? So you have different mentalities. It's different if you scored that goal and you went on to lift the World Cup. You probably talk about it for every day of your life. But when you lose a game, it's like, right, as he says, let's get home. We need to play again.
I went from being someone that scored goals like I did against Argentina.
Express training.
Yeah, beating players, as you say. I was quick. I was running in channels. I was crossing the ball. That was me. That was how I was. For the last 6-7 years of my career, I just turned into the only thing I could. I was petrified of running in a
sprinting.
Channel. I just knew I was going to tear a muscle. So I was. The worst thing about it all is your instinct says what you've always done all your life. I was bred to be a footballer. Every time he gets the ball there, I know what he's thinking. I know what I'm thinking, and you do it. Worst thing ever is Maka gets the ball, and then think, oh no, you can't. Don't come off short.
Yeah.
And it's just...
You've lost your wings, haven't you?
You've lost everything. So all I did at the end of my career for 6-7 years, I hated it. I couldn't wait to retire for most of my,
Really?
for the back end of my career, because I wasn't me. So all I was doing is coming short, linking play, get in the box and just using my instinct.
Did you enjoy it still?
Well, I could still score. I had an instinct to where the ball was going to go and I could finish. So I just used to rely. So ended up, everyone just used to think, well, Michael Owens is a great goal scorer, but didn't really do much else.
You lost that magic then. You lost that cutting edge.
Physically, I couldn't do it. Mentally, I could do it, but physically, I just couldn't.
It's horrible to still want to do it, but just your body just simply doesn't let you.
And you know what's even worse is that I explained how it felt when someone like Maka got the ball, and my immediate reaction is do this, and then split second is no, you can't, just go short. the worst thing is you then get into a rut whereby you don't even put yourself in a position to be able to run. So you actually then go and stand in areas where you shouldn't even be. But I think to myself, if I stand on the last man, Macca will expect me to run and if I don't, he's going to have a go at me and say, why are you running?
Why are you there?
So then, at the end of my career, I wasn't even standing in those positions. I was going into places where he'd look at me and think, the option of running's not there now. So
do you allow
I was
yourself to
thinking
think?
I was thinking of going in wrong positions. It's not paper talk, unfortunately. I haven't spoke to him for a long time now, which is sad. It is, absolutely. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, same agent as Alan, same boot sponsors. We were always together on the circuit. Playing for England, playing up front alongside him was a proper honour. I mean, what a player. And then going to Newcastle, one of the reasons I thought, how good will this be playing for a season or two with Alan Shearer up there? I mean, that was one of the reasons I thought, no, go on, I'm going to go to Newcastle. And stayed in his house while I was house hunting, my family, big mates, and remained that. Played golf with him all the time. We loved our horses. We loved our golf. Everything was fine. But sadly, as soon as he took over as manager, it took a twist, and it took a twist in the final game. I mean, I was out for
Villa.
Yeah, I was out with a groin injury for most of his short period. I think he was only manager for 8 games.
9 games, I think.
9 games, was it? And
is it fair to say Alan believed that you were fit and you faked it? Is that what we're talking about here? Basically
the crux of the matter, yeah. And I had a groin injury for a period of time, so I didn't even play many games under Alan. But then the last game was looming, and in my eyes, and bear in mind, we've already spoken about injuries. I knew my body better than anybody. I don't care whether you're the best doctor or best physio in the world. I knew my body, and I knew when I was a week early or 2 days away or I'm right now or whatever. I knew it just from feel. I'd had it. I'd been there. I'd done it for years and years.
Do you want to make up one then? Because he's basically accused you, not cheating, but, he doesn't want to play.
Well, I've got no problem with Alan. Absolutely. Like the guy, as I say, got great history with him, but sadly he's got this view of myself that I didn't want to play in this last game. And I know why he'd come to the conclusion. He thinks that because I was at the end of my contract that, it might have influenced or affected the next move. But, I mean, come on, I've had, as I say, 25, 30 muscle. Another one isn't going to, stop me from doing whatever. So I was more than... And in fact, I went into his office the day before the game and I said, if I were you, I would put me on the bench. I'm not right. I mean, I've just been trying to sprint with the physio, and if I go another step quicker, I got to about 70%. If I go another step, it's going to ping again. I'm still a week away with it. But put me on the bench. If we need a goal, 10 minutes to go, whatever, bring me on. I'll loiter around the box and I'll try to knock one in. But it's a risk starting.
Did you go on the bench?
I was on the bench, and that transpired. That exactly those chain events happened. But he took that as some way that I didn't want to play. I mean,
there'd be a huge pressure on Alan though, wouldn't you, when he actually got the job? That was going to define whether he was going to be Newcastle manager or not.
And I get that. And it's sad for everybody.
Sad for him, yeah.
Of course, it would have been great. What a story. But I felt like the scapegoat for all of this. And as I say, why on earth wouldn't I want to play?
It was one of the worst parts of my life, to be honest. But I knew it was coming. And I've often looked at all these Barcelona players, Real Madrid players, as soon as they get announced and they get a ball, and they've all got to do these tricks. And I thought, I can't do tricks. I can keep the ball up, all right? I can do as many as you want, but I can't be doing all these round fancy things. Give me a goal and I'll smack it in the goal. So that was my main panic. Of anything else, the worst thing, and it was actually keeping me up at night thinking, what am I going to do? So I thought, sod it, I'm just going to get the ball and I'm just going to volley it as hard as I can. Thankfully there was a few thousand people there, and I just, as soon as they rolled it to me, I picked it up, I smiled for the cameras, and then I just volleyed it. So they threw me another one. So I volleyed that one as well. So I ended up just avoiding it totally.
But Michael, where were you and what were you doing when the words Real Madrid were mentioned to you for the very first time? That Real Madrid are in for you. Do you remember that conversation?
I do. I was in America. Me and Jamie Carragher in the same room, and I was on pre-season tour. Rafa Benitez had just taken over. And I remember it vividly, my agent phoning me saying, Madrid want to buy you, and I just remember putting the phone down after a couple of minutes conversation to him, and Carragher just looked at me and he just said, "Don't do it." And I said, "Why not?" And he goes, "You won't play." And I said, and obviously that was sort of red rag to a bull. That probably made me sign, actually, thinking I'm going to prove Carragher wrong. But no, it was one of those things. I always say it was a nice problem. How can you complain about a problem like that? I mean, but talk about sleepless nights. I mean, one day I was thinking, I can't leave everything I've always had, my family, my friends. I was born, virtually at this club. I'd come right through the ranks. I'd had great memories. And then the next I was thinking, but if you don't, you're going to have 60 years of thinking what might have been. Look at that team, look at a different country and history of it and the stadium and everything else. It was the worst problem in the world, if you know what I mean. But obviously a lovely problem as well.
When I first set out, I got told Real Madrid want you, and I was and ahhing, and I thought, I've just got to try it. Yeah. I've got to try it.
That's a once in a lifetime.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'd be sitting there now saying I could have gone to Real Madrid, So I thought, I'll do what Rushy did. He went to Juventus for a year, came back, and I thought, I'll just go and sample it, and I'd love to, come back. And that's what eventually I decided. I cried all the way to the airport. I didn't want to go necessarily, but I just thought, I've got to try this new experience, language, food, weather, league, playing in that white kit, new stadium. It's a life experience. So, but I can comfort myself with, as soon as I knew I was coming back, it was on the phone to Rafa Benitez. We met, we did this, we did that, we agreed. Liverpool said they'd pay X amount. Then Newcastle came into the party and just offered 6 million more than Liverpool, and Liverpool couldn't budge. And fair enough, they'd sold me for 8, and they would go to 10 as it was. So, Real Madrid said you're either staying here or you're going to Newcastle, to put it to put it blunt, and Liverpool couldn't budge. So I had no option either to stay at Madrid or go to Newcastle. My wife was desperate to go home, so we decided. But then in the Newcastle contract, we did things in there because, of course, they knew that I wanted to go to Liverpool, that I could have gone to Liverpool in different summers, or I could have left the club, let's say, for agreed fees. So at every point, the first year, then I do my knee in the World Cup, so I can't go back to Liverpool. The next year, speak again to the manager. We don't really need you. Torres is here. Next year, don't really need you. Suarez is here. All fine, they're brilliant players. So, time moves on. I'm not bitter. I'm not bothered in that way. That is life. They didn't need a goal scorer. They had one. So that was that. At every juncture, I tried to get back. We all wanted it to happen. Chairman, managers. I shook hands with Rafa Benitez, and we thought we were there, and then obviously the Newcastle deal came in, so that I couldn't, as I say, I couldn't get out of, because the Real Madrid had my contract. They told me that I had to go there. So, and then again, when I finished at Newcastle, Liverpool weren't in need. Suarez was there at the time, so I had to look at my options. I could have gone to one or two clubs, but nothing of the calibre of Manchester United. And of course I sat there thinking, this is going to ruin a lot of what I've done in some people's eyes. But then again, Michael, you're not too old. You're going to be playing in the Champions League. You're going to be at the top of your game still. You might as well just retire. If you're going to say no to Manchester United, you might as well just, this is a great club with players that I played with for years and years with England, great lads, under a manager that was really successful. Yeah. I know people, because people don't understand. They have the badge, and they'll always, and I'd be the same. They're supporters of a football club, but when it's your career, if I offered you the top job at a great, you might be at the top job. Don't get me wrong, but people are always going to try to get better. If you work at Asda and Tesco's are down the road and they offer you more money and a better living condition, people do it. What's the difference between football and any other walk of life? I'm trying to be the best player I can be in a short period of time, and I would have walked to Liverpool any time, and they know that, and everyone knows that, bar a few idiots, as you say, on Twitter. Yeah. But in general, I did all I could, and I can't do any more, and circumstances just meant that I couldn't ever go back. So
a Ballon d'Or winner, You know, that's quite a Ruud Gullit, and now you're here, and you're a very rare breed. Do you think that achievement is given enough credit, full stop? And did you think when you got it that you were the best player in the world?
No. But yes.
Yeah. Okay. No, but yes.
So I did. Realistically,
because you're
I
humble
didn't.
for the purpose of this conversation.
No, because I didn't think I was.
Right.
Brazilian Ronaldo, I looked at him and thought, there were better players than me in the world, yeah, but it's like, but when I get on the pitch, it's like saying to a boxer or anyone, if I'm about to have a fight with you, you probably beat me up in a fight.
Yeah.
But actually, when we start fighting,
I'm in it.
I'm not going. I don't think I will lose.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what I felt like when I crossed the white line, and that was like I was. But realistically, when I sit here, no, there was other players that were better than me at the time. Zidane was around, as I say, Ronaldo. There was a fair few great players at the time.
Do you think the standards of winning a Ballon d'Or are very different from when you won?
No,
you don't.
No.
Even though the achievements of certain players are at a different level.
No.
If you've got 50 goals a season, Michael, come on.
No.
No? Why?
I'd actually go the other way.
Why is that?
Well, I think footballers were more pure footballers, back in the day.
What do you mean by that?
Well, now you have to be an athlete.
Right.
You just have to be able to run. You have to be big. You have to be fast. You have to, you have to be covering X amount of kilometres. If Matt Letizia, one of the most gifted players of our time, of our generation, would he get into a team now? He's like, there's loads of great players that were absolute ballers, proper talented. Now, if you can just run a bit further than everyone else and you can basically pass it from A to B, you're getting a decent career in the Premier League. You don't even have to be that good anymore. Back in the day, you had to have real skill and attributes to be a top player. You had to be a footballer. Now you have to be an athlete.
Does that
and
mean
then a
by that
footballer.
association, because this was the lead-on question, if you were playing today, you'd smash it? Because then, you've got Haaland scoring 38, 40 goals. Harry Kane scores 30 goals a season. Players are scoring, the top players are now scoring more than 1 in 2. 1 in 2 was always the benchmark, wasn't it? If you've got a record of 1 in 2, you're a proper player, a proper goal scorer. If you were playing today with that in mind, would you expect to be punching right at that level and scoring that sort of level of goals?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Is that because you're confident or because you believe that?
No, I totally believe.
Right.
I'm not even
digged out.
No, I mean, people in my generation, like Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo. Do you think Haaland's better than him, or do you think Thierry Henry? Do you think Haaland? Do you think these people, if you put them in Manchester City? So I love Erling Haaland, by the way. I think he's just like playing a different game. He's just amazing. But do you think if Thierry Henry was playing for Manchester City in that position, he wouldn't be scoring, or as I say, Ronaldo? Brazilian Ronaldo, or I'm talking about the greats of that generation. Of course they would.